UK podcast.
Okay, so we are back with episode 8 of season 2 with the incredible Luke Greer. I'm going to put my neck on the line and say this gentleman is the future of HYROX, but Luke will tell us a little bit more about him as the conversation goes on. Luke, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, I'm all good. Look, we start every single podcast off with the same old question, and it's a very simple one that's hard to answer. And the question is, if we were to remove the athlete from Luke, how would people describe you?
So I actually cheated. I've listened to a lot of the episodes, so I knew this question was coming, but I don't think that's made it any easier to answer. How would people describe me? Probably still sport crazy. Doesn't matter. I don't have to be competing in it. Or any good at it. I love sport. I love watching sport. I love being around sport. I love coaching sport. So I think people would say that I'm someone who's always involved in sport, always want to be around it. And then outside of kind of sporty stuff, just a down to earth person who's willing to have a laugh and wants to enjoy themselves as well as try and be successful as possible. Spend time with family, spend time with people that I love being around, spend time with dogs. Yeah, I think just a normal, very, very normal. If you met me on the street, you probably wouldn't think there's anything different about me to anyone else. So.
Wow. Okay. Interesting. So, a relatively normal bloke, down to earth, likes to have some fun, likes to compete in whatever it may be. That all makes sense. So, from what I understand, you grew up in Northampton, did you? Was Northampton
Correct.
in
Yeah.
England?
Yeah.
Cool. And how many years ago? How old are you?
I'm now 29 years old.
29 years old. You see, one thing about this podcast is I feel like I've got a huge responsibility to tell your story because I feel like you've just blown up and everyone's like, who the fuck is Luke? So I really want to get into the weeds with you on today's conversation. And I normally have a format, but today we're going to throw it all out and we're just going to tell your story as best as we can. So,
Okay.
So 29 years ago in Northampton, you were born into what type of family? You got mum and dad around, many brothers and sisters kicking around. How was that period?
Yeah, so mum and dad, got an older sister. She's 2 years older than me. And my mum is originally from the Netherlands. But she moved here. Yeah, she moved here when she was 18, 19. And yeah, then met my dad. My dad was a chef at the time. He worked in the colleges in Cambridge and Oxford. And she was a waitress from what I know. I don't know all the details.
Right.
But that's how they met. And then had my sister, had me, and yeah, a loving family who middle class who tried to give their kids everything that they could and wanted, I guess.
Right.
I can't remember ever a time wanting something and not getting it, if you know what I mean. Not in terms of I want this right now and I need it, but
Yeah.
for Christmas, if the Wii had just come out, it was like we probably got the Wii for Christmas, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And so, and my parents, I wouldn't say they're pushy parents in any way. It was never you need to do this, you need to do that, you've got this that you have to do. It was very much if you want to do something, then do it to the best of your ability. There's no point in doing something half-assed because then don't do it at all. And I think that was kind of the mentality that was instilled in. And it was like, if you're going to make a commitment to do something, then do your best to follow through with that commitment and be the best that you possibly can be.
Yeah.
I think that's molded me into kind of the athlete that I've become today through making sure that if I'm going to do something, if I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to give it my all. And if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out, and that's fine. But at least give it everything you've got and try and get to a point where you're happy with what you achieved. I think it's hard as an athlete to ever be happy with what you achieve, but as happy as you possibly can be,
Yeah. Is your mum classically Dutch in the sense of she's very direct with her communication?
I think she's been quite indoctrinated by the British people.
Okay.
And she
cues a lot.
Yeah. I don't think probably if you spoke to my mum, you wouldn't know she's Dutch.
Right.
But she's refused to ever get a British passport. She says I am Dutch, um, and she will forever say that the Netherlands is her home, even though she's lived in the UK longer than she has in the Netherlands. So, but yeah, I mean, I couldn't ask for a better set of parents. I'm back living at home because I decided to probably fast forwarding it a little bit too much, but
Yeah.
I decided to quit my job and I can't afford to live without a job, so I've moved back home and they've happily I don't happily might be a stretch, but they've allowed me to move back home and try and follow this dream, I guess. So yeah, I couldn't ask for anything more.
You're living that free rent dream. I love it. I love
Yeah.
it. But like, it's in the UK culture, there's this thing where you got to move out, you got to get a mortgage, you got to do this, you got to do that, you got to find your partner. It's all got to happen around 30 and blah blah blah,
Hmm.
and that's it. Like a lot of cultures don't think like that at all. Like in
Hmm.
Mexican culture, my wife's from Mexico.
Okay.
It's actually and in Chinese culture and lots of other cultures around the world, it's actually seen as really, really positive staying close to your parents or living with your parents into older years.
Right.
It's just something that we kind of get a gripe about in the UK. But as a parent, now the best thing that could ever happen in my life is my daughters would want to stay close to me. So I don't really know where that sort of, uncomfortability really lays. Like
Hmm.
you've got this amazing opportunity. Your parents worked hard to create this opportunity for you to come to a safe home and focus on your passion. I think it's awesome, man. And I wish I had that opportunity. So all the power to you on that. How did Sissy turn out?
Um, Great. I mean, I'm pretty close to my sister. She still lives here in Northampton. She moved out 3 or 4 years ago. She bought her own house in Northampton. She works in HR. I think she enjoys it some days, doesn't enjoy it other days, you know. But yeah, we're close. I mean, most of my family tries to come to as many of the races. Where even when I was running cross country, I was playing football. Um, there were very few events where there wasn't at least my mum, dad, or sister kind of at those events. So all very close as a family and get on. And even though she's moved out, she'll come around for dinner. She'll be around as much as possible.
Gotcha. So let's say your family's a business and your sister is the chief HR officer of the business. What are you most likely to be called in for a disciplinary for?
Saying I'm gonna be home at a certain time, and then and then and
Wow.
then and then not in that way. It's mostly coming from the gym. I'll say yeah.
Said
I've
it.
got I've got my it's always my mum. She says, Luke, what time are you going to be back from the gym? Because she's going to make dinner. And I will say, oh, I'm going to be back at 8. And then I don't walk through the door till 8:30, 9 o'clock. And she's like, well, I've cooked the dinner. It was ready at 8. Now it's cold for you at 8:30. So that's your own fault. So that's kind of the running theme that she knows when I say a time is most likely going to be wrong.
Yeah. I think you're just Mexican, to be honest. My mom shows up late for everything. There you go. So okay, cool. So that's all fine. Everyone's happy. Everyone's ended up healthy and happy, which is the most important thing. I'm glad it all worked out that way for you guys. How was the growing up process? Like, at what age was it you really started to discover that you were even a competitive individual? You discovered sport. How did that all play out through sort of, let's say, 8 to 14, 15 years old in your life?
So I think I knew I was pretty good at running in general from football training. So obviously, whenever at the start of football training, you always have your pre-season, even as a kid, and they
Mm.
always made you do the running stuff, and I would always be at the front of the running stuff. Um, and then I think I won my first cross country race when I was in year 4, which I think you're 8 or 9 at that point.
Right.
Um, so that was kind of the start of running in a sense. And then
Yeah.
when I went to secondary school, I went to an all boys school, which was pretty big on sport. Um, that was one of the things that they're most well known for. They've got a great rugby team. They
What
compete.
school? Was it Hartbury?
No, it's called Northampton School for Boys.
Gotcha. Mhm.
So they have a great rugby team. They generally compete against they do well against the private schools, even though it's a public school. And in most sports, cross country was one of the sports that they always did well in as well, and track. So I continued running there, and I had a great set of kind of, well, one was a teacher, Mr. Taplin, who kind of ran the cross country team, and then we had Mr. Love, who he kind of worked at the school but didn't work at the school, and then he helped out with the cross country as well. So they kind of guided me in the direction and coached me. I was with a running club as well. I was with Rugby Northampton, but I was playing football at the same time, and it all just became too much. And I quit running for the athletics club, and I just started running at school exclusively. So that
Right.
was that was training on a Monday evening and a Wednesday after school, and then it was football, football, football for the rest of it. And I played in goal, which was a bit odd
Not much
considering that
running.
I was good at running, but I played in goal. So that was what I did. On the weekends, it was I'd have a cross country race, and I'd be playing football. And football was probably more of my love. I loved playing football. It was because you've got a team around you, you've got your mates around you, you're training with your friends, that kind of thing. Whereas running was probably more of a thing I did because I was good at it. It was
Mhm.
I enjoyed winning. I enjoyed the success of being the best, and that's probably what kept me coming back and kept doing it.
Yeah.
And we had some team events at school that you do the cross country schools cup, which was your you had 6 people run, 4 people scored, and so that was kind of a team event as well. And yeah, so just kept running through school, kept playing football, and yeah, I mean, I think that's where I played other sports. I played table tennis. I played whatever. I was sporty in general, and I could pick up most sports pretty well. But
Mhm, mhm.
the two that were really my focus was always kind of the cross country more than track. I didn't really like track, and then football.
Okay, interesting. And from what age was it identified that you were like a serious competitor? Like what? Like you were a rising star. You had potential to be competitive on a national level or even potentially a global level. How quickly was that identified?
So, to be honest, maybe never, if you know what I mean. I think maybe on a national level, I think at 16 I won the Anglian Trophy, which
Hmm.
is in cross country, which was it was a big deal. It's the whole of East Anglia, and I was never expected to win that race. I was never expected to be anywhere near the front. It's just and I happened to win that race, and then after the Anglian Trophy, you end up going to English schools, and I finished 25th there, which was a bit of a disappointment for me. Having won the Anglian Trophy, I was like,
Hmm.
I should be top 10 here nationally, but
Yeah.
obviously didn't achieve that, and it is what it is. I think running was always on the back burner. And then in terms of football, I had a trial at Aston Villa for a little bit, and so that I guess there were small signs, but I never really I never really I did well, but I never really achieved great things, if you know what I mean. It was never like people looked at me and went, Luke could. I thought maybe that I could compete for GB or England, like personally, that's what I thought I could do, but I
Yeah.
don't think I was never. The problem was I don't think I was involved enough in the world of running, and because I didn't
Hmm.
run for a club. You don't know the right people. You're not around. You're not in the right races. You don't do all those things. So I was very much always on the outside looking in. It was the same when I went to America and I competed in America.
Hmm.
Sorry, again, fast forwarding, I was on the outside looking in. I was running times which were decent and could probably put me in contention to run for GB in a cross country race or whatever. But because nobody knew who I was,
Hmm.
it was kind of like, well, I was never going to get picked.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a fascinating part about sport is like, well, you've got to have all the talent, potential, and performance, but then you've also got to be in the right mix of people and have the right leadership and the right connections as well. That must have been really frustrating for you, knowing that you had the potential to race nationally or internationally, and just not quite being at the right spot at the right time. It sounds like that's played out a few times, sort of from 16 onwards in your life. Has that been a frustration?
Yeah, but I mean, I can also probably blame myself a little bit.
Mhm.
I'm, I'm very laid back, maybe too laid back, and
Mhm.
so oftentimes I wouldn't put myself in the right situation, if you know what I mean. I'd be happy to let somebody else do that, or step forward when maybe I should have been the one stepping forward, or putting myself out there, or doing that work, or sending that email, or whatever it was.
Yeah.
I think at the time, just being young, and you, I guess you think that everything will come to you, and it's like, if I perform well, then it will just happen, or it will all come towards me. And at some point, you have to realize that it doesn't. If you know what I mean, it's you do have to put yourself out there sometimes. You have to talk to the right people, and just being so laid back. I think a lot of people might have even looked at it as if I didn't care, because
Hmm.
I was never the one jumping for joy or being that front person. It was very much just like I would get on with it, I would do it, and then that was enough for me.
Yeah. Well, we see it playing out in all sorts of sports. It's not necessarily the best athlete that wins with regards to the accolades and the finances and everything around it. It's often the best marketeer that wins.
Hmm.
I learned this the hardest way on a gym floor when I was working in Singapore at a gym called Two Fit. And I had all the degrees, and I had all the knowledge, and I thought I was the best coach on the floor. But all these other guys were just making tens of thousands every month, and I was earning buttons. And they had like just entry level PT level 1, PT level 2 degrees. And
Hmm.
I learned very, very quickly that actually it's the best marketeer that wins, and then they get more experience because they're delivering things at a higher level more often than me, and their education actually advances faster too because they're doing it
Yeah.
under pressure. And you see it on Instagram, right? You see it, the athletes that are the best marketeers are the ones with the best sponsorships and partnerships and opportunities for athlete progression camps and all these things which make you a better athlete actually in conjunction as well. So there's no
Yeah.
getting away from the fact that at some point in life you got to put your conkers on the table and say, I'm him, I'm here, he's no better than I. And this is what I want, and this is what I'm going after, and you have to call for it, man. In
Yeah.
this next iteration of your life, so we draw a line in the sand on what has been. Are you going to are you going to perk the chest up a little bit more and tell people what you're about and what it is you're going to do, and what you need to get there?
I would like to think so. I think one of the big things for me was, like you said, post on Instagram. It's not is it at the top of my list that I want to do every day? Not really. But I know that it's something that is good for me, and it's something that I need to do, and it's something where I can kind of get across who I am. I can get across my personality. I can show people who I am, and what I'm looking to achieve. And I've become extremely unafraid of telling people my goals.
Good.
Even though I'm most likely going to fail. I think last year, the start of this year, I posted that I was going to run a sub 220 marathon, and I was going to run a sub 60 HYROX Pro. Um, I failed. I failed pretty miserably initially. I mean, the marathon was close, but then the first HYROX Pro that I did, I ran 104, so I was miles off it. But I was okay with that. I think at some point, you're gonna fail, and that's okay. But it's how you bounce back from that. And I've bounced back fairly poorly from failure, but I've learned again, just through maturing and getting older, that failure is okay. And you then have to reevaluate, where do I go after this failure? How can I make sure that maybe the next time, again, it's a failure, but I'm closer, or whatever it is.
Yeah, no, 100%. And I think that's one of the things that I miss. I deleted my personal Instagram a few years ago, and I've only got podcast ones and business ones. But the reason that I miss it is because the accountability I used to be able to get from it. I'm like, I'm going to qualify for the Ironman World Championships this year. Boom. I wouldn't stress about it, man. Just get your face out there, have a core. Um, have a foundational understanding of what it is you want to share with the world, or how you want to inspire the world, or how you want to inspire yourself, and just go after it and just forget about it. Like it's not important.
Yeah, no, very true.
Anyway, this is not Ryan Wisdom. This is about Luke Greer. We're telling your story. So, 16, you're an incredible cross country runner. We're winning the East Anglia. Then at some point, fork in the road, you take off to America. You went for a soccer camp, or you went for a running camp? Which one did you go for?
No, so I got offered a soccer scholarship to go and play in the US. So I'd done my A levels here in the UK, and along the way I kind of decided I want to carry on playing football to a decent level, I could stay in the UK and I could probably play non-league, but I know I need to get my education at the same time. I can't just keep playing football and just hope for the best. So I got the opportunity to go for a soccer scholarship. So at 18, left home and flew over there, and ended up in a small town in Tennessee.
Oh, cool.
Which was, it was a bit of a culture shock, and but I ended up having having an amazing time. I loved. I wouldn't change anything about it.
Yeah.
And so I was on the team for the first 2 years and wasn't playing. Obviously, as a goalkeeper, you don't just get subbed in. It's not like you're playing right back and it's like, here, have the last 20 minutes. It's you're either playing or you're not. And I wasn't playing. And I sort of said to myself, I didn't come halfway across the world to sit on the bench. This is not what I've come to do. I'd run a couple of cross country races for the team just because, again, in pre-season, I'd absolutely destroyed everyone in the running. And I guess chatter had happened among the coaches, and the cross country coach had come to me and said, would you mind racing for us? And I was like, well, I'm not playing, so yeah, I can come do some races. And eventually decided to make that decision to quit playing soccer and join the cross country and track team.
Yeah.
And that was a pretty tough decision because, like I said, I think football had always been my first love. I mean, I still love football.
Yeah.
But it just wasn't working out, and I have that drive to want to be successful, and sitting on the bench didn't look like success to me. I could have coasted through and gone, all right, I'll sit on the bench for the next 4 years and I'll get my degree and then I'll go home. But that wasn't what I wanted to do. So ended up running cross country and track and played out well. It worked very well, and I achieved things that. I achieved things. I think that, and that's what I was looking to do. I wanted to go to the US and I wanted to achieve things, and I managed to do that through the cross country and the track, which was huge for me. It was like, okay, this was a success. This wasn't a waste of 4 years of, yeah, I've managed to get a degree, but I've sat on the bench and done nothing athletically. I've managed to get my degrees and been successful athletically, which was huge for me.
Yeah. That's amazing, and I think if the next couple of years play out as you expect them to, and as we certainly predict them to, you're going to look back at that fork in the road and go, that was one of the best things that ever happened to you, right? Like there's probably a reality of it all where your athletic potential for endurance sport is much greater than what you could potentially showcase as a goalkeeper. It stood between, I don't know how much distance there is between those two posts, but like, I think looking back, it's all going to make perfect sense for you. And it's the best thing that ever happened. So listen, there's a few things that I just want to cover with you before we get into some rapid fire questions. But first thing is, you got the most balls on the table LinkedIn profile on planet Earth. I absolutely love it. So your capture line is Luke Greer, the HYROX athlete, 221 marathoner, elite running and HYROX coach, helping you unlock your full potential. I love that you got your marathon times in your LinkedIn profile. That you got to be one of the only ones. That's epic. And then the second thing is I went on to your, while this is a HYROX podcast, I try and tell the human story as much as possible, but it's very hard to separate the two at times. I went on and I looked at your fastest timings across the board. This is crazy. So your fastest run 1 is 2 minutes and 9 seconds. Your fastest run 2 is 2 minutes 29. And then run 3, 2 minutes 37. Run 4, 2 minutes 35. Run 5, 2 minutes 40. Run 6, 2:36. Run 7, 2:39. And run 8, 3:18. You are incredibly fast at running comparatively to the rest of the field. I don't think there's anyone within 20, 30 seconds of you when you're at your absolute best. How do you explain those run splits?
I think those run splits are slightly unfair because I think most of them come from London this past Thursday.
Right.
So the lap was not okay essentially because of the huge rock zone. The lap was not exactly okay. So I'm guessing it's somewhere between I'm guessing it was somewhere between 750 to 800 meters. I don't know exactly how far it was. and I don't look at my watch. I don't worry about how fast I'm running. It's all
Feel.
based on feel. Um, so yeah, I think those splits are quite unfair to everybody else. And that's obviously just the nuance of HYROX. And I think that is also something that needs to be explained more to people, if you know what I mean. Because
Yeah.
if you look at that from the outside looking in,
Yeah.
209 for a K would be a world record, and obviously I'm not running world record pace for a K. Um, so I think that needs to be explained to people a little bit more.
Yeah.
Because I had like somebody posted those splits on Instagram, and then there were just comments coming through saying like, "Oh, there's no way he's done that," and it's just a little bit of common sense of obviously I'm not running that fast. I am running fast, but I'm not running Ks at world record pace.
What are you aiming for in your, like, let's say it was a set course, it was 4 kilometers. Like
Mhm.
what would be your potential for a HYROX race, 8 different runs? What would be your average?
I would like to say I could hold between 310 and 320 per K.
Okay, cool.
Um, but again, yeah, I don't know because I don't think most of the courses aren't exactly a K, and it differs from course to course. But in my training of what I'm doing, my tempo runs are around. I use miles, but converted to Ks, I start at 320 pace, and then I will go down to 310s.
Yeah.
And then if I'm doing intervals, stuff like that, then I'm usually looking at around 3 minute Ks, um, or quicker.
Mhm.
Just to, for me, coming from that running background, that track athletic background, I say I coach myself as a 5K, 10K athlete,
Right.
because the 10K is probably somewhere close to what my splits are going to be. So that's where I'm getting the volume is in slightly more than I'm running slightly more than 8K, but I'm running at the same pace, with short recovery. And then the 5K is okay. I'm running quicker than what I would for race pace,
Mhm.
but it's less distance essentially. So I'm not worried when I have to run faster because I've done that in training, or I'm not worried when I have to run slightly slower because I've done it all. And it was the same when I was training for the marathon. It was like I'm training for the marathon at a certain pace. Yes, I want to run sub 220, which is 320 per K, but I was also doing the park run. I was going down the park run, and I'm running 15:20 for the park run, so it's a lot quicker than what I would for the marathon.
Yeah, gotcha. And so tell me, last week in London when it all finished up, and you achieved what you've achieved, which I think was the fastest UK time, for a pro division for the males. How was your evening that evening? How did you feel? Did you go into it expecting to win the race? How did you decompress? How's it been since then? You must feel a huge amount of satisfaction in your performance on a competitive race day. It'd be good to just know what was life like the week going into it versus the week coming out of it, and how do you feel about it?
So I'll take you back to Birmingham. Birmingham, obviously, I ran 57:33, and I was in that heat with Jake Did and Charlie Bottrell.
Yeah.
And it's tough for me because obviously the runs are my strength, so I can't just sit with those guys and run and then get to the stations and then get beaten by them in the stations. Then I'm behind. So they overtook me on the burpees, and I never saw them again then. And so I came away from Birmingham knowing that there were things that I really needed to work on in terms of stations. It was like the running can get me so far, but the stations are going to make or break it for me. And there were certain stations that were like, okay, these are the ones I really need to get into. Um, so that 4 weeks was just obviously maintaining the things that I was good at, but then it was focusing on trying to make these other stations better. So I knew I was gonna run faster, and I knew I was gonna be better. I didn't think it was gonna be that much quicker. And I think the course helped a lot. With the way the rock zone was set up, you could basically full send it the whole time. Whereas I think in a lot of the other high rocks is you're coming in, you're coming back on yourself, you're having to slow down, you're weaving in and out of people. It's a little bit harder to keep that top end speed. Whereas here,
Yeah.
it was a lot easier to come out of the rock zone and then be straight back into your running fast, compared to other ones. So I wanted to improve the stations, and I think I took a minute and a half off the stations, which was great for me. But the moment I finished, I don't think I really took it all in exactly how fast I'd run. It was kind of like wow, that was quicker than what I expected.
Few shocks around, that's for sure.
Yeah. But it was more, I think there was a lot of nervous energy because I got into the wall balls pretty far ahead of Graham Halliday, and then he finished 4 seconds behind me, which was petrifying because I could hear on the guy on the mic was counting the wall balls, and he was just eating up the ground on me, and I was like, oh my god, I'm gonna there's been more. The first open race that I did last year in Manchester, I completely crumbled on the wall. I came into the wall balls about a minute ahead, and then ended up finishing fourth or fifth or something. So the wall balls have been a real struggle for me. And I was like, oh, I'm going to crumble here again. I'm going to get overtaken. So it was panic stations. So crossing that line and having done it was a relief. I think a little bit was the feeling. And then even since, I don't know whether I've fully kind of digested it all. I think it now it's like, I don't know, I'm looking at it and I'm really pleased with the time, but immediately my headspace is like, okay, what do I need to get into Elite 15? Like how do I go from, yes, this was a great performance, but it's one great performance at the end of the day. The 57.33 was good, but this time is great. Now I need to do it again. I need to prove that it wasn't just, okay, I've done this once and it's luck or whatever. You can do something once and it's luck, but can you do it again consistently? And I think that's now my switch of like, okay, I need to do this again. I need to get as close as possible to it again to prove that I am serious. And this isn't just it was a runner's course. He's got lucky with it. It's like, all right, now let's make that next step and kind of confirm myself as somebody who's a competitor, not just to get into Elite 15, but see how far I can go.
Gotcha. So with the Elite 15 seating system, it's the average of your two best times, right?
Yeah.
You must have been pretty close for Melbourne qualification, or was there just a cutoff just prior? Like your average time would have been what, somewhere between 54 and 57, so it would have been, let's say, 56 something.
Yeah, so I think it's updated now, and I think I'm 25th on the list with all the changes from London.
Gotcha.
I think I'm 56.04 or 3. I think I'm not 100% sure. So
shit's getting
there
fast.
was a cut off. I think after Bordeaux. I think was the cut off. So it was quite a while ago. So I knew I wasn't going to go there. But yeah, with where I am now, you're on the outside looking in, and I think it's kind of you might qualify for Phoenix based on roll downs and people not wanting to go. But for me, it's like I want to cement myself in there so that I can look at that list and go, I'm going to the next one. I can focus on it. I don't need to worry about putting another fast time down to make sure of anything.
Are you a fan of the sport? Do you like watching it? Or you just like
Yeah. I mean, like whenever the Elite 15 is on YouTube, I'll watch. A lot of times I don't watch it live. I'll catch up with all of it and see how everyone's done. I don't know. I think the weeks before I competed again in London, I was watching all the other times that people were running, and it was almost disheartening because I was like, wow, everybody's running so fast. Like I think in September to qualify for the Elite 15, the average had to be like 56.30 or something, and now to be anywhere close to it, you have to be 55.20, 55.30. So it's come down almost a minute in that time. So I was looking, I was like, have I made the right decision to do this, or am I just fooling myself? So in that way, I think it's cool the way the qualification is, because it's so dynamic, and one day you're in, the next day you're not. And then watching the pros, the Elite 15 go and race is, I think it's cool, because you're looking at them and you go, those guys are different animals. But I guess I've
not
almost
that different. Not that different.
Yeah. Now I can look at it and go, I'm not that far off.
You know what the difference is between them and you?
What's that?
That they're professional athletes now. 90% of them. And you know what that means? It doesn't mean that they've got more time to train. It means they got more time to recover. so they can have better quality training sessions. And that's the difference between you and them. Once you get that sponsor that works with you, you're getting your ice baths, you're getting your recovery in, you're getting the good quality nutrition for free, you're getting more rest. You can train at any point in the day, which suits you based on your testosterone levels or your cortisol levels or whatever sorts of levels. You're getting all your blood tests and your VO2s. And like, that's the percentages between you. And that's why we've seen it. We've seen it with Sean. We've seen it with Dylan. We're seeing it with Charlie. We're seeing it with, well, Graham's going to find it really hard to be professional because he just opened his new big gym facility. So he's going to find it hard not to have all the stress of that. But there's a bunch of them. Jake Dearden, like there's 8 or 9 of them that are fully professional now on the men's side, and probably 5 or 6 on the female side. And that's why the times are coming down, because they're not doing full-time jobs. Alex was a teacher until last year, for God's sake. 9 to 5, he was a teacher. I'm winning the world championship. And it's they are going to continue to go down. But it sounds like you're making that switch too. You've just moved back into mom and pop's house. Are you still flogging partnership sales at some travel company, or have you packed that in? Like, what's going on?
No, so I quit my job after Chicago. So after the world champs, around 104. And most people would probably look at that and go, he's got no chance. But I said to myself, I was like, I think I can do this. I just need the right setup to be able to do it. I need to, if I'm going to do it, I'm going to give it 100%. So I quit my job and I'm finishing off my level 3 personal training so I can do all that on the side. And yeah, so I just said I'm gonna go after this. I'm gonna chase it. So I do have all the time, not all the time in the world, but I have a lot of time to be able to train now, which is great.
Yeah,
I don't, like you said, I don't have those recovery modalities.
Resources.
I don't have boots. I don't have the massage gun. I don't do any of that stuff. I get home, I lie down, and that's me recovering, and I make sure I eat and sleep well. So yeah, I think it was I guess it was a risk just to quit my job and say I'm going to chase this, but now I feel a little bit more vindicated.
Yeah, no, of course. And then, man, there's also like where you are right now is like there's a stress of it working out as well. There's like, what if this doesn't work out? And you haven't monetized it, and you haven't made yourself economically stable, and so on and so forth. A lot of those guys, they've crossed that void now, and they found a way to actually provide for themselves and their families, and so on and so forth through it. And like that mental load, like stress is stress, right? Whether it's physical or mental or anything in between, it still zaps your system. So all this is going to come out in the wash for you in the coming months, I'm certain. And you're just going to feel so free and just fucking go after it. And I don't think those times are going to concern you at all. I don't think so. Anyway, I've got a big question for you. Fork in the road. I'm going to play bad cop for a second. I was playing good cop there for a while. I got to play both sides. Okay. So bad cop. I think I read in one of your most recent Instagram posts that if you fail in something, you've often quit. And there's something in there. I don't know what the dichotomy is. Whether it's you set your goals too high and then you fall short and it impacts your confidence, or like just talk us through that. Like talk us through how that's played out in your life, and how it's played out is less important than this time round. Like, we're going to fail, right? There's fucking insane athletes out there. Some people are going to win. You're going to win. Sometimes others are going to win. How are you going to manage that moving forward? Because we've seen, I'm not going to name any names, but we've seen certain athletes with great athletic potential mentally didn't have it solid between the ears, and they didn't turn in the performances they should have, and they didn't maximize on success like they should have. How are you going to fix this before the big time comes around?
Yeah. So, I mean, I think fair is obviously is so hard, and I think I've known, it's weird, like that self-belief. I've known that I'm good enough athletically, like I said, that I think I can challenge on. I've always said I should have represented my country. I should have challenged on a certain level, just because I think I'm gifted athletically enough to have been able to do that. But before I've got to that point, I've always something has failed or it hasn't gone right, and then I've almost given up. I've gone, the easier road is just to go, that's fine. I'm just not going to do this. I don't want to do this. And I think the most recent time was maybe 3 or 4 years ago. I said, all right, I'm going to really give this running thing a go again. and I trained really hard. I was like, I'm going to break 14 in the 5K, and I'm going to break 29 in the 10K. Those were my goals. And I told everyone about them. I said, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this. And then I got injured 4 weeks before I was going to run the 5K. I couldn't run for 4 weeks. I aqua jogged. I did everything. I worked so hard to just be able to make that race.
Yeah.
And then I think I ran the week of the race for the first time, back being able to run, and then I raced on the Saturday and I ran 14:21, and I was like, nah, I'm done with this. Like I've tried so hard to get to this point and it hasn't worked out. When really I put it into perspective, it was 5 seconds slower than my PB, and I hadn't run for 3 weeks prior. So it's like, that's actually okay. But in my head, I went, nah, like that's not good enough. I haven't broken 14. I'm obviously not good enough. I can't do this. I'm not going to make it. And so that's kind of where that failure comes in. And it was just like, the easy road is just to quit and move on. And I've had enough. And I think this time it feels slightly different, because almost after the world champs, I probably knew I wasn't going to do that well, because I'd just come off marathon training. I wasn't heavy enough, not heavy enough. I wasn't strong enough. I wasn't fit enough in terms of HYROX to be able to perform that well.
Yeah.
But I think maybe a lot of times after Birmingham, which it was almost a disappointment, because I said I wanted to get as close to 56 as possible, and then to run 57:33 just wasn't quick enough.
Yeah.
And I think generally I would have looked at it and gone, nah, I've had enough of this. Like I'm not going to make it. I'm not good enough. 57:33 is good, but I'm not good enough. But in my head, I've gone, I don't know. I think I'm taking it all a little bit more seriously. Whereas before I would find ways to do less to be just good enough. So it would be cutting the warm up, or just cutting the cool down, or I'm supposed to do a 15-mile long run. I'll just do 12. It's fine. It's whatever. I've made that switch now to where, okay, where can I do more? Like how can I implement more stuff to be able to get better and to get to that goal, instead of I'm striving now to be the best that I actually possibly can be, and doing all the things that I can to do that. And I think at the start of the year, I said to myself, give yourself a chance.
Yeah.
And I meant that as do everything possible to then, when you get to the end of it, and if you do fail, at least I've actually given myself a chance, and not scrimped on stuff, or just done enough work. Now I'm doing more than I ever have to try and get to that next point. And it's like, okay, I'm doing more than I ever have. And after this block, it's like, okay, where can I add another thing to training? Where can I add another thing to training to go, yes, I'm not where I want to be, but I can still get there, because there's this improvement that can be made, there's this improvement that can be made, and there's this improvement that can be made. So I think I'm focusing less on the failure itself, and I'm more looking at the things that, okay, yes, it was a failure, but where can I improve to make sure that it's not just a wasted failure, it's a failure that I'm learning from to improve again.
Yeah. It's fascinating. No one ever talks about the other side of the equation, where someone had the genetic. I'm not saying your success is based on genetic gifts, but you're genetically a fantastic athlete. No one ever talks about the other side of how hard it is to be genetically very good and then push yourself to that extreme level to be elite. I think like Arnie's always a perfect expression of it, right? Because he was genetically God's gift, but then he was also the hardest worker in the room with all the supplements, Mexican supplements possible to get him. It was all three of those things coming together. Often, like the flip side of that is people that say, I've got really bad genetics, I can't make it to the top of the sport, so they're going to outwork everyone, and that teaches them work ethic. But when you're born genetically, there's certain parts of it which have been gifts. So getting that grit which it takes to get to that extra percent, like I think that's the opposing argument to someone not having genetic gifts. That's tough, and it's nice to hear it from your side. I'm not saying that you framed it that way, but that's how I'm sort of thinking about it. And then it's good that you've looked at things now. Number one, you're like Birmingham was 9 months into you racing in HYROX. What you're saying is crazy, number one. So you got to understand that. 12 months into HYROX was this London performance. So you got to chill out. Lauren Weeks, Alexander Ronkovic, like the reason they're so successful in HYROX because they've been doing it since the foundation of HYROX, and they got to compete when the competition was not very strong and win and create a culture of winning. And now they've got all the resources in the world to be what they are, and you're trying to be what they are within less than a year. So, like, just be kind to yourself. Number one is my only advice. Then number two, and I am by no means here to give any advice, but just set your goals bigger than individual races. Like think about what is it you want to achieve? Like, what do you want to get from the sport? And then they're just little stepping stones along the way. Sometimes you'll hit a stepping stone, sometimes you'll miss one, but you've got a wider mission, a wider vision, which you're trying to achieve. You're 29 before you're 36 or 40 years old. And then the little losses are just bumps in the road. Being an entrepreneur, man, like if I quit after every fail, I wouldn't have had any success. And you've got all the athletic potential, and it sounds like your mindset's coming there. And I hope you meet that Arnie. Well, it can't be the trifecta because we're not allowed the Mexican supplements. But the duo of both those things coming together. Okay, that's cool. Let's switch things up a little bit. You took a 3-year break from sport from 2019 to about 2003. What happened? What'd you do? Did you go lady hunting? Did you go on the booze in Tennessee? What was going on? How was the hiatus? What are we doing?
So it's quite funny. After I finished running at the university, I was coming back to finish off my master's. I was going to be a graduate assistant, which essentially means you help out with the coaching. You're not the head coach. You help out. And so that was going to be for a year, and I was going to keep training and working under the coach who coached me at university. He ended up getting a job somewhere else. So then the director of track and field and cross country came to me and said, "Luke, you've been our most successful cross country athlete and track and field distance runner we've ever had. Would you be interested in taking over the program of cross country and distance for the track side of it?" And I mean, I was 23.
Yeah.
And for me, it's like it's a great opportunity for me, because if this is something that I want to do long term, I've already got my foot in the door. Great. So I went, yeah, I'm going to take over the coaching, and the running just ended. I was like, all right, I'm finished with the running. Not finished with it, but I was like, I don't have enough time to be able to become the athlete that I want to be, but also be a good coach to these athletes. So I stopped. I stopped running. Not completely stopped. Like, I'd still do the occasional park run. I'd still jump in a session here and there, but not. I wasn't doing it competitively, and so I was working. I mean, I was having fun as well. I wasn't. I didn't have to worry about, I've got to go for a run, or I've got to do this, that, and the other. So I could live my life a little bit more as a normal 22, 23-year-old.
And what did that look like? Are you a party goer? Are you someone that enjoys food or culture or travel? Like, what do you do when you're not thinking about sport and you're just having your sort of fuck it moments?
A little bit of everything. Like, I've would I say I'm a huge partier? Probably not, but I loved going out with my mates, and
Yeah.
I had a guy, the guy who lived with me when I was coaching. We had great time together. We'd go out. In America, it's obviously they love an English accent, so that wasn't, yeah, it wasn't, it was that helped on nights out. But yeah, traveling. I mean, I saw a lot of the US. I think I counted, and I'd seen 38 or 39 of the 50 states. So that was great. Yeah, I think I just enjoyed myself all round, and didn't. I almost, there were periods of time where I've never had the greatest love relationship with running. It was always that I'm running because I'm good at this sport. It wasn't because I'm absolutely obsessed with running. I wake up in the morning and go, I really want to run. I still don't have that. So it was quite nice to not have those pressures of, I need to go for a run or I'm forced to do any of it. It was kind of on my own terms.
Yeah.
And then I think the really nice thing for me about HYROX is that it's not just that sole focus on running. I also got to a point where I weighed 61, 62 kg. I looked in the mirror and I was like, I actually don't like the way that I look from running. So it was like
Yeah.
I wanted to pack on a bit more weight. I wanted to pack on a bit more muscle, just in general for me.
Yeah.
And I think with just running, if I wanted to be successful with just running, obviously your weight plays a factor in that. Just because the lighter you are, the easier it is to carry that. Um, but with HYROX, there's obviously that nice happy medium of you've still got to be able to push a sled and pull a sled and do those heavier things. But running is such a key component of it that it really does suit me very, very well.
Yeah, cool. And like, what's your weight balanced out at now?
I think I'm somewhere between 75 to 76. At the start in August, I said I want to try and get up to 80. That was the goal. But I don't, for whatever reason, I don't put on weight very well. Even if I eat. So I then looked back at my training and I was like, well, you know what? Maybe this weight thing isn't a huge amount of, it's not a huge problem. Obviously, mass moves mass, and that's an important part of it. But I was looking at my numbers and I was getting stronger, but I wasn't putting on weight. So I kind of looked at it and went, it's not that big of a deal. If I'm getting stronger, I don't need to put on the weight because really it's actually helpful that I can still run as fast as I can with being a
Yeah.
little bit lighter. So I think this 75, 76 is probably the happy medium. I don't know. Maybe I try again and put some weight on and see what happens. But for now, I think it is working. So
I don't
it's
think
no
so.
rush.
I don't think it's important. Like, who's the world champion right now? It's Tim, right? Tim's not
Yeah.
very heavy.
Yeah.
I think Tim really identifies the fact that it's really just about muscular efficiency. Really, none of the weights are that heavy, excluding the
Yeah.
sleds.
Yeah.
So I don't think the weight thing, the Hunter McIntyre approach, is the only way to do it. And Alex
Yeah.
is just Alex is a genetic freak. He'll hold that muscle to the day he dies. He told me in the podcast that he trialed for 3 months to gain weight, and he got to like 105 kilograms from 80 kilograms lean in 3 months without any sort of exciting supplementation around it. He's a genetic freak, so he's going to look like that. That's just the way it is, and then everyone
Yeah.
else just kind of looks how they look, right? I think
Yeah.
just your natural weight from how your body looks from training muscular endurance and strength, and HYROX is probably the best bet for you. The body likes to stay at homeostasis, right? When you get a
Yeah.
UFC fighter, or when you're training a fighter or doing nutrition for a fighter, when you put them up into the next weight category, it just opens up this whole other span of conditioning issues which never existed at their efficient weight, that actually probably be better off moving up weight category and staying at their weight and turning better performances than actually just packing the muscle tissue on, because
Yeah.
your body gets used to where it is. So I don't think weight's that important, and think Tim proves that.
Yeah.
For sure.
100%.
That's cool. All right. So other questions. So another thing that I had for you is a statement. This statement, I want to know how it makes you feel. Luke Greer, the whole community thinks you're the future of HYROX. How does that feel?
I mean, I think that's the first time I've heard that. So,
Okay.
um,
It's my opinion.
um,
Does that scare you?
I wouldn't say it scares me. I think it more excites me. I think it's I don't know. This might come off wrong, and it might sound wrong, but in a way, it's about time. If you know what I mean. I feel like I've almost, in a lot of the things that I've done, we've spoken before, I've kind of been in the shadows and almost been the bridesmaid, and that might be my own fault, as mentioned before. But I've always been second, third, fourth, fifth, whatever. I've never been the guy, the person.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's probably more my own fault than anything.
Yeah.
But I think it's time for me to try and get to that point and be that person. And I'd like to think that if I keep on the trajectory that I'm on and keep working the way that I am and stay injury free and stay healthy and all those kind of things, I don't see any reason why not.
Yeah.
There's a long way to go still, and I'm nowhere near it. Like there's still so many things that need to be improved, but I think I have the base to get there.
Mhm.
So no, it doesn't scare me. I think like I said, it excites me in a way. But I won't get ahead of myself. I think it's more similar to what you said. Is yes, I've got a grand goal, but you still have to get there step by step. I can't just go from I'm here to here. And what you said with these guys have been involved in HYROX for years. They've done thousands and thousands more reps than me in everything,
Yeah.
apart from probably the running. The only place where I have more reps than most people is probably the running. But
Yeah.
with the stations and stuff, I'm so far behind. I'm still an infant in that way.
Yeah.
That I need to get better at those, and I need to become more efficient, and I have to get better, and I need to work on those. That I know that to get from where I am now to the future of HYROX, I guess, is still a long way to go.
Yeah, but from the data that we have currently on you, like you've shown up a year ago, you've turned in the performances which you have in that year. You've beat the best of the UK in that year. Like the data sort of strats towards within the UK and the European region, like you're that guy. And that's without sort of immense focus and time and race experience and all those things which will naturally come. So, like predicted based off that, you're a very exciting athlete to watch and for the community to watch. And it's good to see that you're excited about it. Are you going to? Have you thought about how you're going to approach it character wise coming into your newfound sort of not quite notoriety, but just being known? Are you going to have a heel turn? Are you going to be like more of a Sean Noble? You're going to be like the bad guy of HYROX? You're going to be like, yeah, fuck it, I'll do whatever it takes to win. I'll elbow people. I'll kick a granny over to win the race. Or are you going to be like more nice and sort of modest? Or have you thought about are you going to have a heel turn along the way? Or are you going to lean into just your natural character? What do you think you're going to go for?
I think I only can be. I don't think I only can be my natural character.
Everyone
Um,
likes a heel.
I think I don't know. I think most people, if you know me well, then you know probably a lot of what I say I don't mean seriously. I will say some outrageous and outlandish things about
Good.
myself and
Yeah.
about performance and things, but it's more tongue in cheek than actually serious. And I think if the more people get to know my personality, they will know that. And I'm more silly than anything else than extremely serious and like yes, training is extremely important to me, and I have to make sure that I get it done and I do it. But I'm also not. I'm not strict, and it's not, oh my God, I have to do this at this time. Like I said, I'm laid back, and I think that is kind of the personality that I don't think I can be any other way. I don't think. Uh, I think if I tried to be the bad guy or the bad character, I think I'd just end up laughing at myself, and people would realize fairly quickly that it's just not true.
That was probably the worst question I've asked in this whole podcast history. But why? What I'm trying to do, for anyone that's listening, is I'm trying to get you to think about what it is you want to bring to the world along this journey. What's the energy you want to bring into it? What's the energy you want to bring into your brand conversations, into your community, and so on and so forth? And that's going to lead in really, really nicely to the last series of questions, which the last question was from the previous athlete, was Ida Matilde Steensgaard. I've had a few very difficult names back to her. But she said she wants to know, and this is the perfect question for you, what is your real mission within the sport of HYROX? And it cannot be performance related. She wants to know, like, what are you trying to bring to the sport, and what are you trying to be remembered for within the sport in the short time that you'll compete?
That's a good question. It's a broad question. Um, I think I think I want to inspire people to know that if you really give it your best and you work hard and you be consistent, yeah, you might not make it to the top, but you can be successful in whatever way that looks like for you. And I think it's so easy to fail and give up and then move on and go, this wasn't for me anyway. And I think hopefully make people realize that it doesn't always happen overnight. Like, yes, for me, it has come quite quickly, but there's also been a building phase from X amount of years ago that has led me to where I am today. And that hasn't just been an overnight of, I want to be good. Okay, I am good. It takes working as hard as possible and being consistent. And those, as long as you do those two things and you keep doing those things and you just keep showing up and you keep giving it your best, you will improve. That's just the fact of the matter. And I think that's also one of the things I've always loved about running, just in general, is it's the best thing and the worst thing about running is if you want to get better, you just do it more. And that sucks because there's no shortcut. There's no easy way to get better. But that's also great because when you look at ahead of you, you go, well, how do I get better? Well, I do more of it, or I run faster, or whatever it is. And so I think for me, yeah, I want people to look at my journey and sort of hopefully I can inspire people to go, it doesn't even have to be an IROX, just improve you want to improve yourself, and to do that, just work hard and be consistent. And at some point, it might not be in a year's time, it might take 3 years, it might take 4 years, but you see that, okay, I started here and this was what I did, and now I'm here. And even if it's 5-second improvement, look at that and go, that's a success because I'm still better than what I was then.
Yeah.
I think it is those baby improvements. I think a lot of times we all want these huge jumps, and I've made so many huge jumps. Like from my first marathon to my second marathon, I took off 8 minutes. From the world champs from the world champs to Birmingham, I took off 7 minutes. Yes, these are huge jumps, but I think I said to my family that for London, if I took 20 seconds off the wall balls and that was all I did, I would be so happy because that is something that I've really struggled with and haven't done well. So just to take time off the wall, if everything had gone the same, like just taking time off the wall balls, I would have gone, okay, huge success. Like I'm trending in the right direction.
That's fascinating. There's a really interesting statistic on you, which is I think you're one of the only people in the sport which has like a pro time, which is 6 or 7 minutes faster than your open time on high result, which is crazy. Like I think your open time was like 57 or 58 minutes and your pro time is now 54 minutes. So it's like 4 minute difference, which is crazy. So you got to go back and race your open time at the London Olympia. I think they're doing a regionals there. So it'll probably be an open race and see if you can beat Alex's open time.
So, I mean, funnily enough, I was planning on doing an open in Stockholm next Saturday.
Oh,
But I've cancelled that and I'm doing a pro instead now on the Sunday.
yeah.
Just so because I need that second time to bring the average down, and I was like, I can't really mess around and do an open. Like I need to hold on, use the fitness that I've got now, and hopefully put another fast time down. But it is something that I want to do. I don't know whether I'd beat the world record. I think that time is absolutely outrageous.
Yeah, that's great.
But I'd love to give it another good go.
Yeah, that's cool. So, cool. So, question for the next athlete. Next athlete's going to be another young buck, rising star, Josh Van Zeeland. I think he's much younger than you, actually. And he's going to be post the Melbourne race. So, he's going to be Tuesday next week. So, he's raced in Melbourne. It doesn't have to be connected to the question you ask him. But what would you like to know from Josh? He's probably in a very similar boat to you right now.
So funnily enough, at the World Champs in Chicago, he finished second or third, I think, in the age group, and he was there alone and I ended up. He needed someone to take a video for him on the. I didn't know him. I had no idea who the guy was. But he needed someone to take a video from him while he was on the podium, and I just happened to be standing next to him. So there's like a weird sort of slight connection between he and I.
Oh, he used you as like his Insta boyfriend? Like take
Yeah.
some influencer photos of me?
Yeah.
Oh man, he's trying to get inside your head. He's trying to set you up. He's like going, no, you take photos of me. You're my Insta boyfriend.
No, see, I was a nobody then. I think the only reason I was there was because Puma was giving away shoes for the fastest run time in each age group, and I had the fastest run time. So that's the only reason why I was hanging around to watch the podium.
For a pair of free shoes.
Yeah. Question though. Let me think. Because I know when I spoke to him, his aim was obviously to make the Elite 15. I think he's been working so hard to get there. Like I've seen his Instagram stuff, and he had on there for a long time, want to be Elite 15 athlete.
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
So it's very cool that he's obviously put it together and made it, which is amazing. So I think
Jake paid for it as well.
Yeah.
Head to head.
Okay, my question to him is, what does he think he's changed, or what does he think has changed from him being, what has he changed to make him go from a wannabe Elite 15 athlete to now a fully fledged Elite 15 athlete? How has he managed to, has anything changed specifically in training? Does he think he's done anything different in training or just in life in general to go from being a wannabe to being a fully fledged Elite 15 athlete?
Okay, it's a great question. And the final question that we have is, so this is for the HYROX community, and you've probably heard this question before. It's for the median athlete, let's say someone that does 90 minutes plus in a race, and you can give them one piece of advice. They go and focus on it for 3 months, and they'll shave 10 minutes off their time. Like, what would be the generic advice that you would give to them? What do they need to go from 90 minutes to 120?
Run. I would say focus the majority of your time on your running. Do as many runs as you can fit in a week. Do at least one workout and one long run.
Yeah.
And your time will dramatically come down because over 50% of the race is running. So if you're at 90 minutes, yes, there's obviously time you can take off the stations, but the majority of the time that you can take off is going to be from the runs. So forget being in the gym and trying to do these massive workouts. Get that running better, and you'll see a dramatic improvement in everything else.
You're actually speaking to one of those athletes now. My comeback is happening in March, so we're coming back, baby. Going to be racing at the Olympia, so I'm going to get running. Okay, cool. So we're going to wrap up with a little bit of a race prediction, if you're cool, for Melbourne. So we're going to shoot the breeze a little bit on Melbourne before we cut off. Okay. So who have we got racing? So we've got Tim, James Kelly, Hunter John, Sean Cole, Jos Van Zeeland, Charlie Botterill, Bo Wills, Jake Dearden, Alain Plodge, Martin, Graham Halliday, Liam, and Mark Dean, the other English fella. Who's your top three?
I think. Do you say Ronkovic is running? He is racing.
Ronk is not on the list.
Okay, I think Tim will win. I think Hunter will be second, and I think Charlie Botterill is going to sneak in there and surprise everyone and finish third.
And what do you think about James Kelly? Do you think James Kelly can turn in a performance?
I mean, he's obviously, I don't think you can bet against him because of who he is and what he's done previously.
Yeah.
But obviously, based on the last couple of races, I mean, obviously he got beat by Josh in Seoul. So yeah, I mean, if you had to go on current form, obviously I didn't put him in the top three.
Yeah.
But he is who he is, and he had the world record he was just off the world record for a long time. He had the second fastest time for a long time, and that can't be bet against, really. But yeah, I think on from what I've seen, obviously Hunter hasn't really raced. He's done the doubles. He did a relay, but he looked pretty good. And I've raced Charlie, and Charlie's really good.
I'm going to have a slightly different prediction. I'm going to go for Tim for the win.
Yep.
I think that he's just in his golden era right now, and I think just having the confidence and the self-efficacy of he just keeps winning is a huge leg up, because you can't imagine losing when you feel like that.
Yeah.
So I'm definitely going to go Tim. I'm going to put Hunter in number 2. I'm going to put Sean Noble in number 3. I think Sean Noble's aggression will help him elbow his way to the front there. On the ladies, who have we got? So we got Linda, Lauren, Joanna, Sinead, Lucy Seca, Melanie, Gabrielle, Jess, Manuela, Kat Parnell from England, Ellie, Zara, Sophia, and Tanya. The female division at the lower end of the Elite 15 is it's moving around a lot right now. There's a few easy places to be won there in the female side, but at the top it's pretty established, isn't it? Who do you predict for top 3?
So I can't say I'm the most well versed on the women's side. I'll be honest.
Should have guessed.
I'm gonna say I think Lauren Weeks will win.
Okay, cool. Long shot from USA.
That's probably as far as a prediction I want to lay down, if I'm completely honest.
That's all good. I'll take the lead on this one. So I'm going to go Joanna because she's Aussie and she's insane right now. I think Lauren Weeks is probably going to cut the travel a bit tight just due to family commitments. And it's a long way from Oz. And then for the ladies, Sinead Bent is just an incredible runner. And then looking through this, who's going to get the number 3 slot? Well, Linda's the world champion, isn't she? So it's going to have to be Linda. So I'm going to go Joanna, Lauren, Linda for Melbourne, 9 a.m. on Saturday morning, I believe, our time.
I think it's the women's side is, like you said. I think you've got those top girls who are really up there, and then after that, it really is it's a jungle out there. Anyone could jump up and throw down a good time, and it's interesting. I think I've heard quite a few people say that it's almost in a way the women's side is slightly behind, like the development wise of the men's.
Yeah.
And I think you can see that in the times. You've got a few people who are really who have figured it out. And now everyone. And it's always the way, isn't it? It's like when Roger Bannister broke the 4-minute mile, then everyone started to break the 4-minute mile. Whereas before it was seen as like this huge barrier that you were never going to break. Once one person does it, everyone goes, well, actually I can do that too. And I think that's similar. What you see that on the men's side too now is like these 53, 54 times. It was like, nah, that's only for the very, very fast people at the top. And now everybody is starting to run those times. So I think. Obviously, as the sport grows and people understand more of the training modalities or more about themselves, it all kind of gets quicker very quickly.
Yeah, and also I think what impacts the ladies, and this might be a slightly controversial take on my part, but is that a lot of the men now have turned professional in the Elite 15, because men are more likely to put themselves forward for opportunities, and put their neck on the line per se, and they've gone professional, so they got more time to commit to it, and so on and so forth. Then females also, there's a few things that are unique to females. They generally bear the most of childcare. A lot of those ladies are being impacted. Not a lot of them. Let's say 30% of them, childcare, their bodies are recovering from having kids. That's one part of it. And then women are less likely to put their neck on the line for a sponsorship commitment unless they feel like they really deserve it. So less of them are professional athletes. And that's why we see the professional athletes are running sub 60. And then the rest of the ladies are managing careers and families and all sorts of different things. I'm not saying all the women are mothers. That's not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is most of the men now have transitioned to professional sport, and a very small subsection of the ladies have. And those ones are the ones that seem to be leading the way. So that's
makes sense.
My thoughts on that. Josh, we've been chatting for an hour and 24 minutes. This might be my longest podcast, but you did have a 6-minute pause after I asked you the question.
I wanted it to be a good question, you know. I didn't want it. Well, I don't think it was. I don't know if it's that great of a question, But
Yeah.
yeah, it was a long pause. I apologize.
It was. I think people will like this one because it's kind of been chatty. It's been less formal than the other ones. But listen, last question from me. Will you be in Stockholm racing in the World Championships this year? In the Elite 15?
Oof. I wouldn't want to say yes.
Okay, that's cool.
Not because I don't believe in myself, but I just think I wouldn't want to preempt anything. I'd rather take it step by step from here.
Cool. Let
Let
me flip it.
Gone.
Between now and Stockholm, what are your ambitions within the sport?
I'd like to make my first Elite 15 major. I think that's kind of the first step. And
Cool.
I've always found that when I race mano a mano and not have to worry about a time, I always compete far better. So once I'm in a position or in there, then anything can happen. But obviously the first step is getting myself there and putting myself in that position. So I think that's goal number one.
Yeah.
And goal number two, or where I see myself is fully kind of making this a career. Right now, I've been joking with my mum, and I'm said right now I'm a volunteer. Basically, I'm a volunteer for HYROX, and I've said to her the next step is intern. So I would have liked to have hit intern level, where I might be making a little bit of money, to support myself a little bit better. But that all comes along with kind of athletic performance, and I've said, I think people have asked me and they've said, Luke, you're not going to post more Instagram. And yes, I will post more Instagram here and there. But I've always said I want my athletic ability to be the thing that speaks for me rather than being like making really cool videos.
Yeah, for sure. And a lot of people do that very well, don't they?
Yeah.
A lot of people do that well too. Okay, man, cool. People can get you. Where can they find you on Instagram? Is there anywhere else people can reach out to you and connect with you and support you? Have you set up your coaching business as of yet? Or are you going to hold off until you turn in a few more performances?
So you can find me Luke Greer _ and right now I do coach, but it's mainly running that I focus on. I coach, like I said, I'm self-coached for HYROX.
Really?
But yeah.
Wow.
So before this point, probably I would have said that I don't know enough about HYROX and strength training and that kind of stuff to coach people and feel okay with that.
Yeah.
But having done this for a period of time now and tried and tested many different ways of training on myself, I think I'm reaching that point where I'm more happy and more feel like I can bring value other than more than just running. Yeah,
I absolutely love it. So yeah, reach out to Luke on Instagram. Let's cheer him on to achieve professional, semi-professional, intern level in HYROX prior to Stockholm, and let's cheer him on to reach the Elite 15 in Chicago, or I think it's Poland, isn't it? That's the last two after Melbourne. There's a Polish one and the Chicago one.
It's Phoenix. It's Phoenix and then Poland.
Felix in Poland. Yeah, there we go. Reach out to Luke. That's his story. I've done my best to tell it. It's been a crazy week. People keep asking about why am I wearing hats. I haven't got to the barber in 3 weeks. I've been to Barcelona and Abu Dhabi and fucking New York in the last 3 weeks. I've got a bad haircut, so I'm wearing hats. I look young again, and that's what's going on. So stop yapping at me. I'm doing my best out here.
Thanks, Ryan.
The 8.8 podcast.